It's just after midnight, and you know what that means. You are listening to the Witching Hour on Channel X. Welcome to our first live stream of October. I've decided that all throughout October, we're going to be doing live streams to celebrate the Halloween season and talk with some writers, narrators, and horror people in general. We're starting off right by launching on the night of the first of 2 full moons this October. Tonight's being that of the harvest moon. How are you doing, GenSen?
I've been doing pretty good. I had some Taco Bell earlier, so can't go wrong there.
Nice. I eat Taco Bell way too much myself, but I substituted pizza for my Taco Bell today, so that's variety.
Switching up a bit.
Yeah. So what we're doing here with the, in case anybody doesn't know what the harvest moon is, I want to give kind of a tiny little explanation here. First, we actually have, and I'm sure most people know by now, we actually have 2 full moons this October, one being on Halloween and one being on October 1st, which is today, or tonight, or in your time zone, it's still the 1st. In mine, it's technically 6 minutes into the 2nd right now, but we're going to pretend that didn't happen. So tonight being the first of the 2 full moons is called the harvest moon. For those who don't know what that is, that refers to when you have the closest full moon to what they call the fall equinox, which is when the time of day and night is almost exactly the same. So like 12 hours of dark, 12 hours of light. So that's what they call the harvest moon, for those who don't know. And now that you've had that exciting little Zoom lesson, kids, even though we're not on Zoom, but let's get into what we're here for tonight. We want to talk with Mr. GenSen here. Oh, he put the name Eric on there, but we'll just still call him GenSen.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, so that's fine.
So I guess we can just kind of start off with some general dumb questions that if you've ever been interviewed before, you've probably already answered these 100 times, but how did you get involved with narrating? What started it off? Like what made you want to do it? Or when did you even discover that it was a thing?
Okay, so that's a pretty good question. Yeah. It kind of falls into like a weird line. So with like horror channels and things like that, I discovered them probably close to, how old was I? Like 19, so 20. But yeah, a little over 4 years ago. And I was working at Walmart, graveyard shift. And,
go figure.
So it's nighttime, you're doing stuff and you're bored and you're on YouTube. And I think I came across Let's Read's channel originally and I was like, oh, what the hell is this? And, I started listening to it and I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And then from there, I fell down the rabbit hole of just like finding other narrators and, listening to that content. And it never really dawned upon me like, oh, I want to do this on YouTube. And at the time I was doing animations on YouTube under the same name, GenSen, and did it for probably like 2 years, and it was pretty good. And then I had kind of like a mental breakdown. I was like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. It's so much work, and there's no return. And I was not making any significant gains on YouTube at all.
Right.
So I just deleted like all my social medias, everything. And then like a year later, I was like, I'm going to give it another shot. Let's try it a different way. And I came back to it and I did, on my channel right now, I have like the first 2 videos. There's an update video, like the first one, like what happened kind of, where I was and things like that. And then I did 2 animation videos and I was like, you know what? I don't want to do this no more. So I was like, I got to find something else that will be a little more easier to do, or just something that I want to do. And that that channel, he was popular. Yeah. He still is popular, but and then the radio TTS and all those, I was watching those and I was like, I could do something like that. I guess I can read some Reddit stuff. So I did 2 like Ask Reddit videos, or like r/petty, and I was like, I did them and I was like, this just feels so phony and I don't like this at all. I felt so disingenuous, and I was listening to horror stories and I was like, what if I tried that? What if I gave that a shot? So, from there I started doing it, and I guess the rest is history, just making connections in community and getting a better mic. My older videos, they sound like horrible, but
yeah, a lot of bigger narrators right now, at least from the ones that I kind of went back and looked at their older videos. They all started off with crappy mics and that sort of thing. You can really tell the difference when you look at their first few videos compared to what they are now. You can tell they were probably talking into like their phone or to a laptop microphone or something at first. But
yeah,
as long as it worked at the time, I guess it resulted in them wanting to buy better equipment and get to where they are now. So yeah, mine, not that you asked, but the way I discovered narrations was I used to look up on YouTube old 1940s and 1950s horror drama shows, like the half-hour long, almost like the Twilight Zone, except for radio. Mm-hmm. So there's a ton of those that people have uploaded onto YouTube. So I would listen to those at night. And eventually YouTube started recommending narrator videos on the right, in the right-hand column. And I didn't know what that was. I thought, hey, maybe those are other people doing horror radio drama type things. So I think the first one I clicked on was from Creepypasta. Do you know who that is?
Yeah, I'm familiar.
Yeah, I believe he was the very first one I clicked on. And I discovered, okay, this isn't exactly like a radio horror drama, but it's a different form of kind of the same thing, just done with less money. And it's easy to find a lot of these on YouTube. So I just started listening to a lot more of those, and listened for probably 2 or 3 years before I decided, hey, I have a background. The main things I do in my time outside of, working for the man or whatever, so to speak, I'm a musician and a filmmaker, and most of the film I do is horror film. So I thought, this seems like a cool logical extension of stuff that I already do, being like from the horror background, combining that with kind of like the audio stuff that I do with music to begin with. So I thought that might be a cool combination of the two things. So I actually just started trying to do it earlier this year, and I think February. I haven't done a ton of stuff since then, because at first, it kind of like we were talking about bad equipment earlier. I had a laptop that was just a total piece of garbage, and like it would overheat and shut down even in the middle of a live stream like this. So, it wasn't allowing me to get a lot of work done, but I did, recently build a brand new computer. So I have much better luck now. On to more things here. Are you a fan of, what kind of horror stuff were you into before getting into the narrators? Were you into like horror film or other horror stuff? What were you doing?
I've done a lot of horror, like art. I've done that pretty much my entire life.
Okay.
And I've got a funny story that kind of relates to that, but, and then movie wise, I had like 2 older brothers, and my mom, I remember being like 5 years old, and she put on Dead Alive, and I'd watch that. And just a lot of like, just zombie movies, horror, Ash versus the Evil Dead, stuff like that. And, I was young. I was like, oh, this is cool. I never thought like, oh, kids should not be watching this. Like now I'd probably show my daughter, but I was exposed to all that, and I just thought it was cool, and I liked it. And I've always enjoyed, I was the kid in middle school that had the long hair and the painted nails and stuff. And so
cool.
And then as I got older and became a dad, I was like, oh, I got to cut my hair. Can't look the part now, I guess. But
all right. Yeah. Dads aren't allowed to look like hippies, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. But I'm growing my hair back out now, since I'm kind of working from home now. So I can look however I want to. It's nice.
Not that this is relevant at all, but I actually, as a teenager, I had long hair as a musician. Then I cut it short, and just over the past couple of years, I let mine grow up really long again too. Because I guess I'll mention this. My normal day job, which I haven't been doing in a while because of like the virus and all that stuff, is I'm a web developer. But I discovered that in doing a job like that, nobody really cared how long your hair was. So I just started letting it grow. But yeah, same situation sort of over here. With horror movies, one thing I wanted to bring up tonight, October 1st, not only was the harvest moon and obviously the first day of October leading up to Halloween, but we have two classic horror film anniversaries today on October 1st. In 1968, October 1st, Night of the Living Dead was released. Have you seen Night of the Living Dead?
Yeah, that was, I think, one of the first zombie movies, black and white. Yeah. And it was pretty... It's been a while since I've seen it, but yeah, I have seen it. I think I've seen it like maybe 2 or 3 times.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I guess the biggest significance about it, I'd say, is that it originated the type of zombies that we have today. Like up until that movie, zombies were the voodoo zombies, which just meant that voodoo priests or whatever would control people, and they called them zombies when you control them. But yeah, this one kind of originated the whole zombies being the undead coming out of the ground or coming back to life and attacking people. So very, very significant milestone in zombie history, I'd say. The other one, in 1974, October 1st, is another what I would consider a milestone horror movie that kind of started its own genre, was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. What about that one? Have you seen that one?
Yeah, I've seen that one. I think me and my brothers, when I was younger, we would reenact the ending scene where he has a chainsaw and he's like dancing on the highway. We'd always do that.
On the road. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very famous scene. Yeah, I think that one, I don't know. I wouldn't say, I think there were probably slasher movies before that, but I think that one was the first of its type, being like the crazy murderous cannibalistic family who lives in a house in the middle of nowhere where, you know, anybody who comes across it, they end up becoming victims of the family, that sort of thing. So I think that set off kind of its own subgenre as well. Have you seen many other movies with that type of a premise? The crazy family in the woods who, you know, murders and eats people.
Yeah, like House of a Thousand Corpses, kind of like that.
Exactly, yeah. That's actually one of my favorites, House of a Thousand Corpses. I mean, obviously, if you look at it next to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it's very similar in the setup, but I'd say I actually like House a little more myself. I think it's more artistic. But then again, it had, you know, many more years of movies behind it that other people did in order to arrive at that point. So aside from these, do you have any favorite horror movies? What do you like to watch?
Like nowadays, I really don't watch TV very often. I'm just so busy with the channel and,
right.
You know, I'm back in college and stuff, but I like more funny movies. So like Dawn of the Dead, or like Shaun of the Dead, I guess. Dawn of the Dead's really good too, though. I don't know. I mean, I don't have a big list of just straight horror movies I can say like, oh yeah, this one. And I'm really bad with names too with movies, but I've probably seen it. I've seen pretty much, you know, every movie that's come out, even some more of the indie ones. And sometimes those are the better ones.
Agreed.
Yeah. But what about you? What's some ones you enjoy?
Well, speaking of comedy horror, I would say I like, specifically for that purpose, I like a lot of 80s horror movies, because even when they didn't call them comedy horror, a lot of them were comedy horror. Even stuff that's kid friendly, like, I don't know, Gremlins or something like that. I think those movies are great because they're technically some type of horror, but they make you laugh your ass off. So, you know, they're kind of friendly to everybody and not just a small group of people who have to hope that their favorite directors, you know, make enough money off their movie to make another one. Not to go off on too much of a tangent on that. I'm into a lot of that era stuff, like Halloween movies, Friday the 13th movies, Nightmare on Elm Street, Candyman, which is actually 90s. Speaking of Dawn of the Dead, I like the 2004 Dawn of the Dead a lot. I don't know, have you seen that one or just the original?
That one was the one by
Zack Snyder.
Zack Snyder, yeah, where they're in the mall, right?
Yeah.
Well, I guess both of them were the same premise, right?
Yeah, they're both in the mall, just written differently.
Yeah, I enjoyed both of them. The 2004 one's the one I'm more familiar with, but the older one was great too.
Yeah, a lot of people get on me because I prefer the 2004 one, and most people think you have to like the original better no matter what. But I think the 2004 one is just better all around, better written, better everything. So people don't like it when I say that very often, but that's
how I was introduced, like Richard Cheese, that little when he does his cover of Get Down to Sickness.
Oh yeah, I love that in that movie. But, right. Yeah. That, and speaking of music in that movie, that just reminded me of what, even though there's nothing going on, one of my favorite scenes is where they're in the elevator and they just hear elevator music playing and they're all kind of standing there like after battling zombies. And the one dude in the middle is just like, I like this song. like he's paying attention to elevator music while they're battling zombies, Yeah, I'm into that. I'm into, I guess to stick with zombie movies, I like 28 Days Later and the sequel.
Oh, yes, great. Both of them great.
Yeah. A lot of that stuff. There have been several comedy horror movies of the past few years that I think are good too. Even smaller, like you said, indie movies. I guess this doesn't classify as indie because it's Blumhouse, but there's on Hulu, they have a series every month. Blumhouse puts out a movie under the umbrella. They call it Into the Dark, and they have a new horror movie every month. Usually it involves a holiday of some sort. A lot of those are comedy horror, so I think they're doing a pretty good job with that genre. Since we're here for the whole October Halloween thing, are you a big Halloween guy, or were you? Or?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. I don't even care this year. I'm still gonna do it. Just Halloween party at my house though, but I've always been super into Halloween. I've always made big costumes, like full body costumes. What was it? Last year I made, it was, I guess the year prior, actually, we did Monsters Incorporated. So I was, right. Sully, and then my wife was Mike, and my daughter was Boo. So pretty much I'd gotten enough material, and I made every little hair and stuff on an entire like shirt and pants and a hat and everything. I just covered it all in fur just to make the whole ensemble. And then my wife, we just put like a big googly eye on her tummy. And we're like, there you go, you're done.
Yeah, I'm huge into it myself. In fact, my birthday is a few days after Halloween. So as a little kid, my mom always threw Halloween birthday parties for me. We'd have it usually beforehand, like before Halloween itself. And we'd have all my friends come over dressed in their Halloween stuff. And it's basically a Halloween party, but for my birthday. So I think that probably put a seed inside of my head that Halloween was the path to go for the rest of my life. So so I've decided to kind of follow that in a sort of way. I even took it as far as just a few years ago, and I plan on doing these again. I came up with an idea for a huge public Halloween event called the Masquerade of the Red Death, based on Edgar Allan Poe's story, The Mask of the Red Death. So I started throwing those events. Instead of just regular birthday parties, I'm throwing these huge Halloween events, which are cool, but they cost too much, and I wasn't making back enough money at the time. But hopefully in the near future, I'll be able to kind of streamline that and find out a way to make money with it. Aside from that, are you doing a lot with your channel right now? Are you doing anything different for Halloween month or?
Yeah, so Halloween month, I released one video, and it was, I've been doing the horror narrations for pretty much a little over a year now, and I do the parodies. So I did my first, I don't know how you'd explain it, like a top 5 list almost of like top 5 ghosts caught on camera. So I'm going to kind of dedicate a good portion of my channel to doing those like top 5 or top 10 videos and just my analysis on them and finding some really good ones that I think look pretty authentic. Still doing the narrations, probably 15 to 20 minute ones. I've been doing, usually I do like an hour long one or 45 minutes to an hour. And then recently for like the past maybe like 30 days, I've been doing them just 20 minutes just because I've got schoolwork and everything coming up. Yeah. So, now, so that's kind of my plan.
Right. Do you write stories to narrate yourself, or do you strictly do other people's stories that you find, or?
Yeah. So, originally I would just go on Reddit and be like, okay, where can I find a story? Just look around and ask everybody, hey, can I read your story? Please, 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 please. and now it's to a point where, I've got someone that I pay and he finds me stories.
Cool.
And he'll find me more like paranormal stuff or crypt stuff that is just kind of harder for me to track down, because the Let's Not Meet subreddit, it's pretty easy to go ahead and ask for stories there.
Right.
There's just so many people that post daily, and they're usually pretty okay with it, and they support kind of what I'm doing. And now I've got a lot of subscribers that send me stories. I've got a subreddit, but they typically just send them to my email. I'm just like, okay, so
right.
that works.
Yeah, some people, I don't know how they must have some quick system with how to get their stuff out quickly. I've seen a lot of people, I don't know if it was like this before, but as soon as this whole virus thing started, I started seeing multiple people uploading at least an hour-long video almost every single day. And I was like, okay, I'm here doing like 12 to 16 minute video with one story. And that's taken me, I mean, not that I'm working all day on it, but it was taking me several days to get one done and upload it. Next thing you know, we have these people, here's another hour every day, like Slumber Reads. He's
been grinding it out.
Yeah, it's been crazy lately. Like, I mean, he used to do at least a 1 hour video almost every day anyway, but now they're shorter videos now, but he's putting up like 3 or 4 of them every day almost. And then he's also doing multiple hour videos, maybe once or twice a week on top of that. It makes me kind of want to like sit around and kind of hover over some of these people once in a while to find out how they're doing this so quickly.
I mean, I could definitely put out hour-long videos every day. I mean, yeah. I've got time to do it, but I dedicate most of my time during the daytime towards like doing mostly schoolwork now, and then my daughter and things like that. And then once she goes to bed around like 8:30, and then I'm up till like 2 a.m. or sometimes 4 a.m. just working, finding stories, recording audio, editing. And my videos, they're not too difficult now. I pretty much have a template that I use that I've made, and I have to edit small snippets and adjust times to certain things. But for the most part, my videos, I could crank them out if I really wanted to and just say like, oh, but I know my audience's retention, and I kind of know more or less. I know people do like the longer videos. I get the comments about that all the time saying, oh, I really love when you do these. Like I did like an 8-hour video, and everyone loved that one. And I'm just like, my 1 hour videos, it shows me the drop off points on analytics and things when people, how long they're going to watch it for. Right. As a YouTuber, I still have to kind of keep in mind, I need retention. I need to have that to have this video get better, to get better. I forget how they say it, whenever it pops up more for other people to watch.
Yeah. I'm forgetting that word off the top of my head as well, but I know what you're talking about. I've kind of wondered about that with the videos that are longer than 2 hours. Unless someone just puts it on and like lets it play all night while they go to sleep or something. I'm not sure how many people actually go through the entire video, which makes me wonder how the retention level is showing up in YouTube. Like if you have an 8 to 10 hour video and someone listens to 2 hours, I don't know how YouTube really goes about deciding retention, whether it's by a certain amount of time or just percentage. But if that's percentage, then that's, you're looking at 20% retention there, which I wouldn't think would be good in their eyes, but I don't really know.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess I'm doing something right, because the past month I've definitely seen more growth in my channel than I have in the past year. So, right. I guess that's, but I've been very fortunate to be able to collab with like some very large channels lately. And that's definitely helped. Basically,
what I've mainly done is, and obviously this isn't the right way to go if you want to put out tons of videos, but I've mainly done just stuff that I wrote and a few things that more famous authors wrote. But, recently I've been doing the normal thing and asking, looking at stories on Reddit or wherever and asking people if they would, mind it being narrated. So I'm going to start doing some of that. But I've found with the time of the videos, when I first started, my single story videos were around 20 minutes, and I had people complaining they were too long. And then more recently, I'm putting up like 12 to 16 minute videos, and I had people complaining they're too short. So I don't know if there's a way to satisfy everybody unless you're doing multi-hour videos and 10-minute videos.
Yeah, I mean, I get those comments definitely a lot. And I don't know. My channel is just like a fun house at this point because I'll do, primarily I'll just do the true stories, true horror, putting some paranormal stuff, sprinkling that in. And then I've got like these random like parodies that I do. And I don't even know why I thought to do one at the first. Actually, wait, I do remember somebody on Discord that told me to do it. And they're like, hey, you do funny voices. Put that on your channel. And I was super drunk at the time. So I was like, yeah. So I recorded my first parody drunk, like super drunk. I just ad-libbed it all. And I edited it all just drunk and I uploaded it. And then everyone liked it. So I was like, okay. And then after that, I did like my other like 3 parodies. I did those when I was drunk. I got drunk. I don't really drink very often, but at the time I was kind of in a weird spot and, it would just help me sleep. So
right.
I was drinking and then, I'd wake up in the morning. I was like, did I post that? And then, but surely enough, everyone liked it. They thought it was funny and they did pretty well. So, and people always want me to do them now. I'm like, I don't want to overflood my channel with just parodies and
right.
Be like known as, oh, he just does the parodies. That's that guy. But
yeah, you definitely have to space them out a little bit so that people don't just think you're the parody guy when they see 5 parodies in a row at the top of your page. So now when you started doing them, were they of other narrators or were they of something else?
Well, it was mostly just Chills because his voice was the one I can do the best. And then I did the, who was it next? I think it was Corpse Husband, and then I did a Mr. Nightmare one because their voices are pretty similar in inflection. Just Corpse Husband has a lot more like raspiness and then a little more emotion in his voice. And Mr. Nightmares is more like my voice, pretty close to mine. Or
right.
So I just kind of pitched my voice a bit lower. Or I think I don't know how I pitched it. I just pitched it up or low until I got it to the point where I was like, okay, that's good. And I've got some other ones coming up. I just did a Being Scared one, and it was, I didn't even try to do his voice. I just did the story itself was the parody. Yeah, because he's all about rainy nights. The whole story was about rain and getting flooded, and just somebody gets flooded their house with rain, and they're just like towards the end, it's just a person trying to speak, but it just water in my mouth and I'm just gargling it. So. Yeah, I heard that one the other day, and one of the things I like that it kind of parodies that I didn't really pay attention to until I heard your parody was that he kind of remains calm. I mean, I guess a lot of narrators do this, but he remains calm even when you'd think someone wasn't during a story. So like even during the part where he's under rain being flooded out, he's just speaking completely like nothing's wrong. That I thought that that's my favorite. So that's like a really big inside joke with me and some other narrators will just be like, we're like, why do people when they write their stories, they can say something like, it's like, I was walking down the street and someone pulled a gun out at me and they put it right to my face. I really didn't think anything of it at the time. It's like, that was like that. I'm like, how do you not think of it?
What do you mean think nothing of it? That happens to you all day? What? In fact, I was gonna say it reminded me after I heard your Being Scared one. It must have been on my mind because I used influence from that when I was recording something yesterday. I had a story called "The Night Is Following Us." It's basically most of it is this kid or teenager in an airplane on a very long flight overnight, and he's listening to creepypasta stories while he's on the plane. And every once in a while, I just have some little piece like he's listening to a story and you'd hear something in the background. So first, I actually parodied myself when he's listening to a creepypasta story. I took my opening that I normally do on my stories and I just kind of said it in a really funny way. Then the second one, I remembered your Being Scared parody. And so I parodied Dr. Creepin. You know him?
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I just took the one line I know that he uses at the beginning of everything is, "It's time to grab your favorite drink and listen." So I I did a parody of that. But see, you're influencing other narrators. That's a good thing.
That's cool. That is sick.
Yeah. I don't know if you have anything to promote right now, like a news story or whatever.
I definitely have things in the works, but nothing I can really talk too much into detail. Unfortunately, well, I don't know if it's more of a good thing or bad thing, but yeah, there was, I still can't really say the developer, but I was working for an indie developer for a video game doing a horror. It was like a horror game. Kind of like, I don't know if you ever played, I think it was The Sleep Among Us. It's like a baby, you know, where you're playing from his point of view, but I was narrating it's like the secondary character in the game, and you play as like a child in this game, not a baby, but you know, his helper, so to say. And yeah, unfortunately they went under. So that job got canceled, and I had spent, you know, probably the past like 2 months just getting audio in and then sending stuff back and forth, and then it just to go under. I'm like, ugh. But you know, it gives me more free time now to kind of focus on the channel again, and that's
right.
That's all I'm kind of at right now. And then my little one just woke up, so I'm gonna probably get her back to bed soon.
Okay. Well, I've had fun talking with you tonight. So
yeah, this was cool. This was definitely interesting. I can't wait to see who else you have on here throughout the rest of the month.
Yeah, I'm working on, I have maybe 5 or 6 other people lined up right now. I'm kind of hoping to get more and do them as often as possible throughout the month, just to kind of get a ton of them. It's kind of a strange goal to just go for quantity, but you know, that's almost what I'm aiming for. So, all right.
It's definitely, I mean, it's a numbers game on YouTube, so I get it. You know, YouTube promotes that stuff. Oh, he's uploading like this, like that, like that. Like, you know, like another person, I'm not sure if you're familiar with them, but it's the Dark Somnium. You know, he's recently been doing some daily uploads, long ones, and he's been exploding.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I actually know him fairly well. I've had him on a podcast and a live stream earlier this year. And he's actually supposed to be one of the ones on later this month. I haven't set a date. Nice. Yeah, haven't set the exact date for him to be on yet, but he'll be on one of them. He's a good one. And you're right, he has been blowing up. I've noticed his numbers getting higher and higher.
Yeah, Let's Read had brought up to me first, and I was like, wait, what? So I checked it out. And I was like, oh, wow, he is. And he was like, yeah, man, he's just exploding. I was like, wow, that's good for him.
Right. All right. It has been fun. And thank you to all the GenSen fans blowing up the comments now. So everybody, we will have another one of these with another narrator, and we're going to have writers as well. So hopefully you guys will come back for the next one. We will talk to you soon. Good night, and go ahead and say good night, GenSen.
Have a good night, everybody.
Oh, I'm caught in the rain. Oh. All right. See ya.